Welcome to the podcast From Coffee to Cases, the show for small law firm attorneys who want to stop begging for leads and start building a business that runs on referrals and real relationships.
Welcome back to From Coffee to Cases with Delisi Friday. Delisi leads First Call Friday, where she guides lawyers in building referral-driven practices through meaningful relationships and smart, sustainable systems. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're talking about evaluating the true value of the professional organizations that you're a part of. Delisi, welcome back.
Hi.
So I can't believe I'm saying this, but the end of the year is here, almost real close to here. And this is a time where a lot of law firm owners are looking at their marketing budgets or making decisions for the upcoming year. You believe a review of professional organizations is important. Can you explain that?
Yes. Lawyers spend their time in person and through different organizations in listservs, making sponsorships and donations throughout the year. And it's very common in this industry, as well as other industries too. But very rarely do you have a moment to sit down and say, okay, why are we doing this? Are we doing this just because we've always done it? And now it's a habit every time in December when X organization needs a gold sponsor, we always say yes. And every time in the summer when, a organization asks for this sponsorship, we say yes. And every time the law firm has to renew memberships for this organization and this organization, we just cut a check. And if there isn't a moment in time where law firm owners can sit down with their leadership team and say, let's look at all these organizations and these nonprofits that we support, and let's go through and assess, does this still make sense for us? Does this still deserve our time and our energy? And are we just doing it because we've always done it? And that's really important, especially at the end of year.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I've definitely worked at places where we've talked about we've been in this group for a long time. Does anybody go to like the events that they put on? Does anybody do the marketing stuff? And everyone's like, oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe we should stop. You
Yeah.
have to kind of look at what you're doing. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for sure. Because you do get used to just doing the same thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you suggest then that law firms do to assess the professional organizations they're part of, the nonprofits they support, to determine what to continue doing and maybe perhaps what to consider scaling back or even removing in the new year?
There is something called Mendelow's matrix. And Mendelow's matrix isn't just used in legal, it's used across the world. And essentially, Mendelow's matrix is 4 quadrants. And you consider 2 key factors in determining where an organization goes in one of those quadrants.
Okay.
So on the X axis, the one that goes up and down, you've got power or influence. And that's going to be the potential to influence the right audience for your business. And then on the Y axis, the bottom line is interest. And interest is going to be the interest your firm has in this business and whether or not it aligns with the firm values that you have. And the 4 quadrants help you assess, okay, does this still make sense for us? Let's just go through this and ask the questions so we can determine how many organizations and nonprofits do we have in this box and this box and this box. And it's just a really easy way to sit down and assess where are we at with these organizations and help make it clear so you can make some decisions intentionally about where you're spending your time and your money.
Yeah, I've never heard of Mendelow's matrix before. How do you determine where something falls in those 4 boxes you just mentioned?
Sure. So, my suggestion to anyone who does this exercise is for everyone who does the exercise to do it independently and then share what each person found for those different organizations and sponsorships.
That's a
So
good idea.
here's it, and that's intentional. We can talk about that in a moment. What you want is to ask yourself, is this a high or low? Let's just stick with influence organization. High, does this meet our criteria for a high influence organization to meet the right people for our business? Low, maybe not so much. And on the bottom y axis, you're thinking about high and low interest. Does this have high interest for our firm and the values we have? Does this have low interest for the firm values that we have? So we have Mendelow's matrix up on the screen. And for anyone who's listening to this podcast, I recommend going to the YouTube video and watching it, or going into the show notes and you can download this PDF so you can take a look at it and you and your leadership team can do this exercise. But really briefly, I'll talk it out. The top right quadrant is called key players. These are high influence, high interest. Think of these organizations as the ones that you know are going to drive business, drive referrals, and make you visible with high impact with the exact audience you want. Then, right below is going to be your low influence, but your high interest. That's going to be keep informed. So maybe your firm is really loyal to this organization and you want to continue to support them, but you just want to keep them informed. There's going to be a cap at what your investment of time and money is for an organization like that.
Mhm.
Then to the top left, you've got keep satisfied. Keep satisfied is going to be high influence, but it's going to be low interest. So, yes, it's going to influence your market, the target you have for potential new clients or referral partners for your business. But the firm's not deeply invested in this organization, and it's not something that really aligns with your interest as a whole. And then the last one is your bottom left quadrant called minimal effort. These are going to be the organizations where you realize, okay, they have low influence. This really isn't going to target the people that we want business from. And it's not going to target our potential new clients or referrals. And it's also a low interest. We're thinking about our interest as a firm. And honestly, this company just doesn't meet that anymore.
Mhm.
And as soon as you do that, you start to see, oh, wow, okay, I've got way more people in this bottom left box, minimal effort, low influence, low interest. Why are we here? Why are we investing our time and our money here if it doesn't meet our standards for an organization we should be devoting our time and our money? And so if you use this matrix, it helps you really put this into um, a box, literally a box, and then start to have those conversations and say, wow, okay, I didn't realize half of our stuff is keep informed. We're really interested in it, but it's not actually targeting our potential new clients or referral partners. And holy moly, I've got way too many people and minimal effort. We should be taking some of this money out and putting it way over here because I've got some high influence, high interest organizations, these key players, where if we put some of that extra money in, we could probably see a high return. And that's the
Mhm.
thought process that you want when you're trying to do this exercise.
Yeah, and you've used words like influence and interest, and I think it's interesting because you talked about before about having multiple people in the office doing this, and seeing kind of what people pick. I'm sure a lot of this is open to interpretation, though, right? And people are going to have difference of opinion on on interest and influence. Do you see that happen a lot, or do people tend to be more aligned than I might think?
Yes, to both.
Yes, both. All right. Well, that was
Um,
easy.
so yes, it's really interesting to watch this because you are going to have a difference of opinion. And that's why when we started this podcast episode, I said my suggestion is everyone does this independently. Don't do it as a group and say, okay, everybody, let's go through the Nebraska Travelers Association. How do you feel? Because inevitably, you're going to have one person on that team who's like, I'm not going to be totally honest because now I know I'm outnumbered. But if you had it on a piece of paper and they filled this box out independently, they'd be a lot more honest because they're keeping it to themselves. Maybe you turn in your papers and someone from the leadership team reads it and you do keep it anonymous if you've got some people on your team who don't really do well when it comes to some of these conversations. But the point is, yes, it's open for interpretations. Everyone's going to have a difference of opinion, and they should. That's the beauty of having a leadership team. You should do this as a group and then use this as an opportunity to start having a real conversation with your team and saying, okay, I'm actually pretty surprised by these results because it looks like 75% of our leadership team put this one organization in, I don't know, minimal effort, which is the lowest of the low. And I really thought we all cared about this. And it's because you did this exercise in an independent manner where everyone wrote it down that you realize that. Or maybe you realize, hey, 100% of our leadership team says, hey, um, high influence, high interest, key player are these two organizations, and we're unanimous in that. Well,
Mhm.
great. Now you can have a conversation and say, okay, everyone, I think we just realized where we should start taking money away from organizations we've commonly supported and strategically decide if I move that money over here where we all agree that it's got high influence with our people, we all think this is highly aligned with our beliefs as a law firm, it's probably going to do really good. The point of all of this is to have those healthy discussions. And if we're being honest, some law firms don't have those healthy discussions. Debate scares them, even though they're lawyers and they debate for a living. It doesn't mean they're not human who feel a little uncomfortable with confrontation. So if you can do this exercise and do it independently and turn in your papers and then everyone reads, what the answers are, it might help with some of that. Or if you love confrontation and debating and you believe in it and you're the total opposite, okay, well then talk it out. Get a dry erase board and put all the dots together as a team. Either way, the point is to do the exercise. Because if you don't do this exercise, the problem you're going to have is you're going to be wasting your money without realizing it. Because if everyone gets a check, then your money's not going to be as useful. It's
Right.
not going to be as efficient. It's not going to mean as much. And if you haven't actually thought about where you're spending your time and your money, then you're wasting it. And that's not the point. You don't want to be doing it because it's habit.
Right. Yeah. So basically, you're kind of encouraging this to be a debate between, law firm leadership and perhaps marketing and anyone else who may have a say in this.
Yes, absolutely. We should all be having debates. Some of the best decisions in a law firm happen because someone is having a debate on something. Marketing, if they're involved in this conversation, and they should be if this is part of your marketing budget, might say, Kevin, I know you put the Texas Trial Lawyers Association as key players, high influence, high interest, but I gotta tell you, each year you give me $15,000 to spend towards that organization, and I have never received a case from it. Well, now you can have a really open conversation and say, are we okay with this? And maybe you are. Maybe the point of being a part of that organization is just to stay connected with lawyers in your profession.
Hmm.
Or maybe you're not, and you say, wow, I mean, it wasn't until you put it like that I realized you're right. What if I take a portion of that budget and I put it someplace else? We're not completely saying no to this organization. We're just intentionally scaling it back so we can put that time and money someplace else that we all agree is a good investment of our time. But yes, having those conversations and debating it is so important, because if not, you're just going to be spinning your wheels and you're not giving people an opportunity to be a part of the conversation. And if you don't give people an opportunity to do that, you might not know someone else on your team is saying, "Hey, what did we ever get a case from this? Like what are we doing and why are we here?" And
Hmm.
those conversations are gold.
Yeah, no one likes to think about something as being a waste of money, and when you can make it all seem very efficient and working well for your firm, then everybody's on the same page. And again, we talk about it all the time, but it can go back to that culture.
Yeah, and you said something that just helped me realize there are going to be some organizations on this list that are high interest, low influence, keep informed only, but they matter. I'll give you an example. When I played t ball and then softball as a kid, my dad's law firm was always the sponsor for our team uniforms. Always, 100% of the time, my dad's law firm name was on the back of all of our uniforms. Is he expecting to get a case out of that? Probably not. How many cases is he going to get out of a T-ball uniform?
Well,
How
you never
many
know.
people? Well, maybe, maybe, but it's high interest because it matters to him.
Hmm.
And you should still do that. I know lawyers who have family members and they have kids that they support because it's very personal. And I think those are great sponsorships and organizations to be active in and a part of, because now you are in a organization and sponsoring and helping an organization that you personally have an investment in, and those people know you really well outside of work. Those can be those hidden referral partners that we talked about in a last episode, but it's low influence. It's not a huge group of people, but you know what? That smaller group of people, those are my people. That's my tribe.
Hmm.
They all know me by name. They all have my cell phone number. And if they ever had a case they could send my way, they would. Because every time I go to a T-ball game, I tell them what I do and who I help.
Hmm. That's true. I like that callback. I love a good callback, Delisi. It's one of my favorites. All right, good stuff as always. Thanks for listening to today's episode of From Coffee to Cases. Not every sponsorship deserves the same level of support. And if everyone gets a check, you have no marketing strategy. So don't forget to assess whether the professional organizations you're involved in are still worth your time, energy, and investment. If you'd like a copy of the PDF Delisi created showing you how to use Mendelow's matrix in your law firm, head to firstcallfriday.com, where you can visit the resources page and download a copy. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a review if you found today's episode helpful. And there will also be a link to a YouTube video in the show notes. Correct, Delisi?
Yes, absolutely. I encourage anyone who's just listening to this, watch the YouTube video so when I'm describing it, you can see the box, and I think that'll be really helpful.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much, Delisi. Always great to have you.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast. And please share this episode with a peer who can also benefit from case referrals. For more information or to connect with me, Delisi Friday, visit firstcallfriday.com.